As you guys saw in the last video, we left the Bronco Raptor halfway done with the RPG lift collars. Now, although I gave you a sneak peek of installing the front of the lift collars in the last video, today we're going to dive in deep. I'm going to show you some of the tips and tricks that I found when installing it and show you the absolute easiest way to install these lift collars at home all by yourself. Now, we're going to tackle this one corner at a time, but before we do that, let's get some measurements to see exactly how tall the Bronco is going to be. Now for the measurements, I'm going to measure off of the front bumper, off the winch plate right here. We're right under 31 inches and 1/8. And for the rear, we're at 24 1/4. Now we've got a baseline of measurements. Let's go ahead and get the front started. Now, of course, a huge thank you to RPG Off-Road for sending out this awesome stuff for us to install. As you can see here, the lift collars that we got are actually the same orange as the Bronco Raptor stuff, so it's going to look perfect and really match up great. I love the American flag on here, and it should be a relatively simple install. Now, they look about the same for the front and the rear, but what you're going to notice is the front, the lift collar is going to go on the bottom, and for the rear, I believe the lift collar is going to go on the top. They are a different part number, so these end in R, these just end in 43. They've also provided some additional hardware, and then we got some stickers in there. The first challenge we're going to run into here is if I have enough room to lift the Bronco up without hitting the garage door arm, because these things have a lot of travel. So let's go ahead and jack it up and see if we can get it there. Now, I've seen people install these lift collars quite a few different ways, but I'm going to try the easiest method first and see if we can get it done that way. I've been working with the Camaro so much here recently, these wheels and tires feel heavy and massive. Now, the easiest way I've seen anyone do this was just by using spring compressors. Now, before I go too crazy with the spring compressor, I'm going to lift up that suspension, jacking it off the control arm, and then I'll tighten it down a little bit more. So whenever you jack up the control arm here for the suspension and compress that spring, you can see that you have enough room to get your other cool spring compressor in. So I've changed my method up here a little bit. We've got the ratchet strap holding the top because the top kept falling down and that was not allowing us to get enough space. So hopefully that'll fix our problem. Tightened up the spring compressors a little bit more and we're gonna drop it back down. So as you can see here, the setup looks a little bit different now. I actually went back to scratch and reset it all. I had the top actually come out up here, so I found a different way to secure the ratchet strap. I don't have a big enough clamp to hold it, and then I did find a way with just 2 of these to hold it, but in the process, my factory collar fell all the way down and basically down to here. So I had to compress it all the way up manually. Took forever. But at least now that we know how to do that, the other side should be easier. Now let's see if we can line these up here. Now we'll fasten the bolts back in. And they go from the back side. Now we've got it all tightened down here. And now the RPG lift collar is finally on our driver's side. Now I've got to tell you guys, I did a lot of the steps wrong on this first side. This is my first time ever doing it on this. I'd done it on the side-by-side and stuff before, but this was completely different. So for the next one, it should make it way easier. At least now we know what to do, and we know what not to do. And now we've got the lift collar on this side right here. And let me tell you guys, now that we've got it figured out, it is much easier. It's still a lot of hard work because we're having to use hand tools on everything, but it is so much easier now that I at least have a process. So the absolute best method is to take the tire off, and then you'll want to lower it all the way down. You want to attach a ratchet strap up here, go on top of one of the shock bolts, and then the main shock bolt on the back, loop it around and connect it down to the frame. Tighten it up super secure. Go ahead and jack up off of the lower control arm, retighten that ratchet strap. Then you can start torquing down the coil spring compressors. After that, and you get it tight enough and you've got it raised up to where you have enough separation to beat this loose. Really, you just have to find the best angle to hit it. Find whatever tool. I used a sand mallet, a dead blow hammer, and also a chunk of metal like a sway bar spacer bracket that I had. It ended up working pretty well, but it does take some persuasion to get that out. And also, whenever you're using the spring compressors, you see this little plastic piece that separates the factory collar and the spring. It gets caught up, so you also have to work with it to get it back in place where it should be inside that coil spring. So there are a couple little things, but for the most part, it is super easy. Just take your time and dedicate more time than what you think to getting it done. But let's go ahead and let the compression out, drop it back on, let it seat on top of our new lift collar, and then we'll bolt the tire back on. Well, now that we've got both sides of the front done, you can definitely tell how big of a difference this is already making. It is crazy to see how much clearance we have up front. Now, just doing a quick little test, pushing on the suspension here, you can definitely tell it's a lot stiffer. Now, before we dive too deep on the install with the Bronco, I've got to show you an awesome product that I've had for a little while now. These are the Hubsco HOV GTRS moped style e-bikes. Now, like I said, I've had these for a while, and let me tell you, I've been putting them through the ringer. These are 1500 watt e-bikes that have a top speed of 32 miles an hour. They have a load capacity of 450 pounds. And on top of all that, they have a 65-mile range. And they've got 5 different pedal assist modes. Aside from that, they have an app, and when you download it, you can put these into Class 3 mode. So that means you can go 30 miles an hour with just your throttle. And let me tell you, I've tested it out for myself. Now, I've been riding these things around so much. I've already got 117 miles on this one and 108 miles on this one already. I was not kidding whenever I told you guys I've put these through the ringer. And the funniest thing is I got these because I thought they would be the perfect vehicle to help record these videos off-road, but it turns out that my daughter absolutely loves them. She's 3 years old, about to be 4, and I can throw her on the front like a motorcycle here, and we ride all through town on these things. She absolutely loves it, and I can't lie, these things going 30 miles an hour makes it an absolute blast. I'm going to show you these bikes in way more detail pretty soon, probably whenever we take the Camaro off-road on its first adventure. But until then, if you are interested in getting one of these for yourselves, check them out down in the link in the description below. A huge thank you to Hubsco for sending out these awesome bikes to test out and be a part of the channel. Well, small problem already with the rear. This is the max amount of travel I can get with my floor jack and the max amount of clearance that I have in the garage. I could scoot it back a little bit, but it doesn't matter. That is the max that I have for that. So what I'll do is put the other jack under the wheel, jack it up just a little bit, take the wheel and tire off. Then I should have enough room to let the shocks completely flex all the way down to the bottom. So for the rear back here, I believe this is the spring perch on the top here. So what we need to do, pretty much same thing as the front. We need to compress this spring right here down, get this down, and place the lift collar right there. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I couldn't find any instructions on how to do this. So I've got a ratchet strap holding down the coil spring here, so hopefully whenever we compress it, it'll pull it down far enough. I'm not sure if it will, but we're going to find out soon. Now that we've got enough space here, I think we just need to beat this collar down the same as we did up front to get it off that little press fit sleeve. Now that we've got that off, remove those. And of course, like I've already told you, the lift collars for the rear, you're gonna have that part going down. It's easy to tell because they put their logo the right way. And this was actually much easier than the front so far, but I don't wanna get too carried away. So let's get it done, and then we'll see if it really is as easy as I'm thinking. Now I'm gonna wop this down just a little bit because it is a tight fit the way that these are machined. And it seems like that is good. Now we'll start to release the tension. Well, now it's all installed, and one tip, whenever I was releasing the pressure off the cool spring, I was doing both sides at the same time, and that allowed it to really go over that lift collar really easily. So that worked out pretty well. And you will want to keep in mind too, since I had the ratchet strap on there, I pulled the bolt back and it shifted the shock. So I wanted to leave just a hair of space there. That way it can rotate back. Let's see if that was the correct amount of space. There we go. So whenever I rotated it back here, it put it in the right spot. So you will want to leave just a little bit of space if you're going to do it the same way I did. I figured whenever we move that shock back, it would need to have that movement to get back, because this isn't going to move anymore. Just the spring's going to move and the internals of the shock here, the cool over. But really simple install for this, way easier than the front. So that was nice. Let's get this wheel and tire back on this side, and then we'll move on to the driver's side. Well, now we've got the whole passenger side done, and it looks so much bigger. It's crazy how big of a difference 2 inches will make. But let's move on to our final corner here, and then we'll be done. Now, one thing you are gonna notice is the 2.25 makes a bigger difference on the springs up front because they're a tighter cool rate than the cool springs in the rear, or the cool overs in the rear. It's a looser cool rate. So 2.25 inches of lift collar should give us maybe 1 3/4 inches worth of lift in the rear, whereas in the front, it'll literally give us 2 inches. So that's just the way that the cool springs work. So it should be dead level after we get done. Well, now we have it all installed. I just wanted to take it on a little drive here to see how it feels. It does feel a little stiffer, but stiffer in a good way, and I can definitely tell the difference in height. You can feel it as soon as you get in the car. This is full turn, full lock, no rubbing. Well, that's nice. I do have a TPMS sensor that's out. Whenever I replace the wheels and tires, I've just had issues with that one sensor. But now let's take it right here. Now I'm just in all the normal modes. And it doesn't feel stiffer in a bad way, but it feels stiffer for sure. There's not near as much rebound, I guess is the best way to explain it. But it feels really good. So let's do this. Let's do 4-wheel high auto. That way we can disengage our sway bar. Oh, I guess we have to do it in 4-wheel high. Disconnect our sway bar right there. Let's put our suspension on Baja. Now let's test it and see how it feels. Still super smooth. It's do this little jump right here. Yeah, the suspension still feels great. Now let's test the articulation a little bit. Let's go to 4-wheel high. Go to sway bar disconnect. See if we're gonna run into any rubbing. I've got it fully turned. Let's see how close we are. Oh, still tons of flex. Oh my gosh, that is perfect. I really didn't even have to cut as much as I did, but this will ensure that we don't hit anything. That is so perfect. Well, I could not be happier with how this RPG lift collar kit has really changed the Bronco Raptor. It drives way better on the road, and it's given us all the clearance that we need. It's always hard to tell on camera how tall something is. I'm 6'2", and that's eye level. It is crazy. These Bronco Raptors are just so big. I mean, even whenever I put it next to the Rubicon 392 on 38 1550s, or shoot, now we got it on 40 1550s and a 3.5-inch lift, I think this thing might be taller. But we'll pull it over there and see. So here it is on level ground, and as you can see, it's definitely taller. As you can see on the top right here, this thing is level. So for the rear now, the bottom of the tag, which is what we measured off of previously, is right under 26 inches. It's 25 inches and 7/8. And measuring off the same spot for the front, now we're at 33 inches. So here is the Jeep on 40s with the 3.5-inch lift next to the Bronco Raptor on 38s with a 2 2/4-inch lift. It is just crazy how big the Bronco Raptors are. I mean, this is a massive vehicle on the street compared to everything else, but this thing looks even bigger. It's so crazy. But I think they are almost the exact height. Now, the Raptor roof, as you can see, bulges out a little bit there, whereas the Rubicon roof doesn't. So that does make it look a little bit bigger. It's just a thicker top in general compared to the Rubicon. But in terms of windshield height, it looks like they are about the exact same. Maybe the Rubicon's a hair higher just in terms of windshield, and then the Bronco Raptor just makes up for it for that thicker top. But it is crazy to see these things. Absolutely massive. Here's the difference between the 40 1550 and the 38 1550. Obviously massive height difference, but the Mickey Thompsons still look wider. They're on the same wheels. I do think the wheels for the Bronco have 5-inch back spacing, where these are 4.5-inch back spacing. So that's a little bit of a difference, but other than that, the exact same. Well, now it's pouring the rain, but I did have a good chance to drive it on the road, and let me tell you, just off my initial impression from taking it on the road, this is what the Bronco Raptor needed from the factory. The RPG lift collars make the drive so much better. It has so much more control. Yes, it's a little stiffer. It's just as forgiving as it was. It absorbs those bumps just as good as it always has, but it's just a little stiffer. Whenever you go to slow down, the nose doesn't completely dive down and just throw everything off. It's a lot more stable now, and it feels pretty good. Also took it through a little bit more stuff off-road, nothing crazy, but just after some basic testing, it still feels really good. I'm super excited to take the RPG lift collars out on the trail on our lifted Bronco Raptor and see how it's gonna do whenever we get on some technical trails and maybe some cool jumps. Well, it's a few days later since we've installed the lift, and I've actually put a couple hundred miles on the Bronco since we installed the RPG lift collars. And let me tell you, the on-road driving characteristics have done nothing but improved. I will say it is a little bit more reactive to bumps than what it was, but it still has, you know, quite a bit of dip whenever you get on the brakes, Not near as much as it was, but you can see right here, still has a considerable amount. So I don't want you guys to think that the lift collars affect the suspension like the ride quality too awful bad in these Raptors. They just have so much travel. But a huge thank you to RPG for sending out that awesome lift collar kit. I truly believe if you have a Bronco Raptor and you're wanting to put any bigger tires, you definitely need them. It is the most cost-effective solution, and you still maintain the awesome factory suspension. But if you guys haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see next. But until then, Godspeed.